DLP, episode number 3. You know what? It's me. It's Rami. We're here. You know what, man? I just got off a flight from Houston to Arizona, bro. I wake up, and Deandre Hopkins just followed me from Houston to Arizona. What are your thoughts, Rami?
So I'm just going to take you through my thought process from when I first saw the report, what I was thinking, what I was expecting, all that. So I woke up, and I see the report on my phone. I see a notification, where people are saying Hopkins could be traded. He could be traded, but bro, I see this every year. I see this same report every year. So I'm thinking, whatever, bro. This is a bunch of BS. I'm not even thinking about it.
Right.
I'm thinking about, the start of the new league year. I'm thinking about the real stuff that's going to happen. But then...
Right, we got a brand new CBA. You know what I'm saying? 17 regular season games, an extra playoff team. This is a lot of big stuff going on in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and other big free agents, trade candidates, whatever. So then I start to think, okay, if we were to trade Hopkins for some reason, I want to get, at the least, can I at least get 2 first-round picks? Is that asking for too much?
I think the Texans came into the situation. It's much like what the Jaguars were expecting.
And by the way, his contract is really generous.
Yeah, no. It's super generous for it to be $12 million around there when you got Odell Beckham making 19. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's a super generous contract, and then you pick up David Johnson's contract, who's only $1 million less than Hopkins, and he's a washed running back on the back end of his career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Johnson just isn't the same player. Last year, he just didn't look as explosive. Got outplayed by Kenyon Drake. A lot of people are going to point to the injury problems. But my thing is the fit in Houston. I mean, Houston does a lot of zone run concepts. I mean, I like what they do in terms of running the ball. They make Carlos Hyde. He had a career year there in Houston. But my thing is, why are you investing in the running back spot? Houston had 2 running backs. They actually had 3. You know what I mean? In some situations with
Tywan Jones,
with Irvin, Tywan Jones was out there, and he offers some ability in the receiving game. You have Duke Johnson, you have Carlos Hyde. I totally just do not understand the acquisition of David Johnson. Maybe it's a dump by the Cardinals. Yeah. But I mean, the Houston section just got totally fleeced here. Bill O'Brien put on his best Dave Gettleman impersonation, and
Bill O'Brien is the
insane.
worst.
Yeah, I don't even know what they're going to do with him at this point. The disappointing playoff losses, I mean, some fans can understand why they're keeping him. He's getting them to the playoffs. But at this point, it's just, you're content with mediocrity. I don't know what Bill O'Brien's plan is for right now. The Texans are, quote, in draft hell. So, I mean, they wanted some more draft capital, and you only get a second-round pick. You lost your 4th rounder. You get a 4th rounder in 2021.
I'm saying you get the best receiver. So, you're giving up the best receiver in the game. And you don't even get the number 8 pick, but you get a washed running back with a terrible contract and a 2nd-round pick.
It's sad for the Texans at this point. I don't understand what the sense of direction is here. This is how I was feeling.
And I blame Cal McNair for this, to be honest. You hired Bill O'Brien for this GM or whatever.
Yeah, you gave him the GM spot. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, speaking of one receiver being traded, we see Hopkins go to Arizona. We've got a whole bunch of other trade candidates that are some huge names, but let's talk about this Hopkins deal a little bit from the Arizona perspective.
Yep.
From the Cardinals perspective. A lot of people were talking about CeeDee Lamb becoming that number 1 receiver at number 8 overall and being picked there. Now the Cardinals, to me, they get prime CeeDee Lamb. What do you think about the fit of Hopkins along with the young quarterback and a young head coach?
Man, that's amazing. You saw how good of a year Kyler had, with those receivers. Now you add Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald coming back for another year. And with that number 8 pick, I mean, they're most likely going to get a tackle to fix the offensive line. Man, that's a beautiful fit for Arizona. Total steal. I know Hopkins is ecstatic, unlike Watson and Texans fans. But, yeah, man, I love that pick.
I feel like Hopkins has a lot of reason to be super excited. He gets to play in a division with a person he loves to compete against in Jalen Ramsey again. They're going to be back in the same division.
Yeah.
And so that'll be a lot of fun to watch for them. But Houston Texans fans, I mean, they've got to be looking forward to something too. Who are some prospects that you think in the 2nd round with this new pick that the Texans got could be available for them and could be the next great Texans receiver?
I don't know about next great Texans receiver, but for now, just a receiver to fill the void. And I think the second round pick that the Texans got was I think it's pretty early. So I want to go with my guy Jalen Reagor, who I loved coming out of college. To come to my favorite team. You look at a guy like Brandon Ayuk, Chase Claypool, but obviously they won't be. You're getting a second round talent here. They're not going to be Hopkins, but
right.
But with Fuller being injured all the time, same with Stills, QT. Maybe you get a rookie in there. You see the offensive line is getting better. So I don't think the Texans are doomed, but they're not going to be any better than last year.
Yeah, I don't think they're doomed. I think that it also depends interdivision. I think the Titans almost just guaranteed their failure for the next 3 to 4 years with the signing of Ryan Tannehill. Reminding me a bit of the
we're going
Nick
to talk
Foles
about
signing.
that later.
Yeah, reminding me a bit of the Nick Foles signing, but I feel like the Texans, there isn't a whole lot of, you know what I'm trying to say here. There isn't a whole lot of pressure on the Texans within the division. You know what I'm saying? They have control over the division at times. In the regular season, they fall apart against divisional opponents at times, and we even saw them fall apart against the Colts a couple of years ago in the divisional round.
Yeah.
But and so I feel like for the Houston Texans, they're not doomed because of the incompetence within their division as well. So I think they'll be fine from that standpoint. I don't think this is going to help them get over the hump at all. It adds nothing. If you're a team in the Houston Texans who had a chance to go to the AFC Championship. You were up 24-0. To me, that's a win now. That's a win now team. You're talking about draft capital and trading away some of your best players in a win now situation. You're moving backwards. It's backwards thinking, and I do not understand how Bill O'Brien has a general managing job in the NFL. It makes no sense at all. You know what? We're talking about receivers the Texans could target in the second round. A guy I like a lot is Denzel Mims. He's a Texas kid out of Baylor. That would be a nice pickup for the Houston Texans because right now Will Fuller is your number one receiver. And Kenny Stills your number two. It's just outright.
Yeah, your number one receiver plays an average of about 8-9 games a season.
Exactly.
It's just terrible. Like you were mentioning about, the Texans having a good grasp on the division. Maybe so, but not for long. The Colts are a better run, but
for sure, definitely better run. The Colts are probably the only team in that division that knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
Everyone else just runs around like chickens with their heads cut off, and I don't understand it at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tennessee,
that was terrible. You know what? Let's shift gears to that. Let's talk about that Tannehill. Not only the deal, but then the fact that you're going to tag Derrick Henry instead of giving him, the long-term contract.
You know what? I'm not even gonna lie to you, Rami. I might disagree with you on this one. I like the move of tagging Henry. You know what? He's a running back. Tag his ass. But man, I'm so tired of teams biting the cheese on these quarterbacks. I know it's hard to find a franchise guy, but when you're seeing teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars getting burned for what they did with Nick Foles, you see the Texans, who you previously just mentioned, getting burned for players like Brock Osweiler. You see teams getting burned by these free agency quarterbacks who have one astonishing year. Next year they get signed to you know what? Nick Foles got his $88 million contract. How much was Tannehill's today?
Oh man, I think it's I don't know. I think it's like
I think it's $116 million. Let me see this.
Yearly, I think it's in the high 20s.
Oh yeah, for sure. Tannehill's banking. He's having a great time. I don't think there's anything that the Tennessee Titans can do to reverse this, because we've seen teams get into this trap before. You pay the quarterback big money, even when the quarterback is good.
Yeah, here it is. 118 million total, 29.5 average per year, 62 guaranteed.
Yeah. So he gets his little 30 ball right there. No, there's no telling what the hell Mahomes is going to get at this point with this market. But we also see the Cowboys. They tagged Dak Prescott. So, what are your thoughts on the Cowboys and Prescott in that whole situation?
There were reports that he turned down, I believe, the 30-something a year.
Yeah, he turned down a deal in the 30s.
Yeah, bro. I mean, there comes a point where you kind of have to realize what you are. But, I mean, whatever. You get tagged. That's the right decision for the Cowboys if he doesn't want to take that deal. I mean, there's no way you give him in the high 30s or, God forbid, in the 40s. But
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're going to even agree to a deal anytime soon. I mean, like, by next year, are they going to let him walk next year or what? Because it looks like he's hell-bent on that $40 million.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, I think it's a great decision from the Cowboys because you, sir, are the quarterback of our team. I don't care how many yards you had, how many touchdowns you had. If we win 8-8,
yeah,
there's no way in hell that I'm just going to extend you to a 30, even a $30+ million contract. I don't know how in the hell Dak Prescott just declines that. And so, I mean, he's betting on himself a bit here. If Dak Prescott can get in the window of 11, 12 wins that Jerry Jones is looking for, Jerry Jones thinks his team is a 12, 13-win team.
Yeah.
If Dak Prescott can do that, I really do think that he's going to be the highest paid player in the NFL next year because the Cowboys are just that gullible.
Yeah, you think if they get into that 12-win range, maybe they get to the divisional with Mike McCarthy, you think they give him the biggest bag?
Hell yeah. They're gonna throw the whole bag at him if he gets to the divisional round. Jerry. He's gonna say, this is the first year with our new head coach. Dak's looking amazing. You know what? We're gonna go out there and we're gonna win it. But just like we were saying before, even when you pay the big quarterbacks, you got to make sure everything else around you has been great. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that you're drafting well. You got to make sure that you have a lot of nice young players on tiny rookie contracts.
Yeah.
Because without that, your team's going to fall apart. We saw it happen with the Packers when they paid Aaron Rodgers the huge contract that was at the time the highest paid contract in the NFL.
Yeah.
When we saw that happen, the team fell apart around him. It was just Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and the Cowboys, they already signed a lot of guys to deals. You talk about obviously Zeke, Jalen Smith,
right.
Today Blake Jarwin.
Yeah, for sure. And also we got to talk about Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you've got to lock up a receiving threat for Dak Prescott. So we'll see what the Cowboys can do here. If there was no salary cap, we know Jerry would just sign everybody to $100 million.
Yeah.
So let's move on here. We've got also Kirk Cousins getting extended. And so what are your thoughts on Kirk Cousins getting a 2-year? He gets his $66 million, $33 a year. You think it's overpaid? You think the length's good? What do you think about this?
Look, I know a lot of people don't like Kirk Cousins, and this year, especially in the regular season, I was not a big fan of his, but I've been defending him. I've been riding along with him for a long time. Ever since he was in Washington, I really believed in him. And, bro, he's not a bad quarterback. He's above average,
no.
I want to say.
He's not bad. He's not bad. He's definitely above average. All right, no. Wait. Here's a better question. Who would you rather pay $33 million a year, Dak Prescott or Kirk Cousins?
Man, that's a good question. I think Dak Prescott.
You rather pay Dak?
Yeah, look,
Dak,
I think is probably a better quarterback than Kirk. And Kirk has a lot of weapons. Not only that, but then Dak, even coming in as a rookie, he carried the Cowboys get a lot of attention. He carried all that on his back, put it to the side.
That's true.
All that stuff.
He always has a lot of pressure on him. I mean, he's playing for America's team.
Yeah, exactly. So I like him more than Kirk, but I don't know. I feel like the quarterback market is just so.
It's broken at this point.
Yeah.
It's so broken because everyone's.
It's like you pay your starting quarterback who you like. You don't have to love. You like him, and you give him the biggest contract.
For sure. What
do you think about the Kirk contract?
For me, Kirk Cousins and that contract, I love the years on it. I love that they only gave him a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
I mean, this gives a window for the Vikings to fully evaluate Cousins and fully evaluate this window of winning. I think after these 2 years are up, you're going to lose Diggs. The offensive line still hasn't been great. I mean, they bolstered a lot of capital into the interior of that offensive line. Garrett Bradbury. I still think they can do a lot more. Pat Elflein, of course, is horrible, but I mean he's better as a guard. I don't hate him as a guard, but I truly feel like if the Vikings don't develop that offensive line soon, and it keeps stinking like it does, we can see the Vikings get into some pretty dark times after this Kirk Cousins contract is out.
Yeah, and then we've seen Stephon Diggs, speaking of the Vikings, just tweeted out, I want a new beginning. He's been wanting out of Minnesota for a minute. Where do you see him landing if he gets traded?
I would say,
or does he get traded?
Man, I truly think at this point they have to trade him, and I don't think the Vikings have a lot of leverage. So it's gonna be a trade where the Vikings in return, we saw what the Texans just got for Hopkins, and the Texans had more leverage than the Vikings have right now.
Yeah.
And so the Vikings with less leverage, a worse player, man, I could see the Vikings returning maybe a 4th or a 5th round pick for this. Diggs has been demanding a trade since mid last year, and so. I mean, there's little to say about him. I'm not sure what teams would be suited to get into a Stephon Diggs type
Houston
situation.
Texans?
You know what I mean? Man, I don't know.
As a Texans fan, like, this is what I want, and it's obviously possible. You trade maybe a 3rd or a 4th for Diggs.
Right.
And you
sign
AB.
I think a third's too high. I think a third's too high.
Really?
And... yeah, for Diggs. Diggs has, there's zero leverage in the talks at all. It's either you trade him or what is he going to do, hold the hell out? Like, what's going to happen with Diggs in Minnesota? He obviously does not want to be there at all. And I truly think it's a problem with the quarterback. I don't think Diggs likes playing with Kirk Cousins at all.
Yeah.
And you see him, Kirk gets extended today, and then right after the extension, Diggs tweets out, I'm looking for my new beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's subtweeting about everyone else getting traded. Like, this guy obviously doesn't like being there. He obviously doesn't like the situation with his quarterback and his targets. And so I feel like it won't be a move that Bob will do. I don't think that Bill. I don't think Bill O'Brien will. He's not a super aggressive GM.
Yeah.
In terms of going out and getting.
I disagree.
Players.
I think he is. You look at the Laramie Tunsil trade. That's really all. Garyon Conley.
Yeah, I like those deals, but I definitely think that Bill O'Brien is looking into this draft. I think he loves these crop of receivers because if he wasn't guaranteed the pick, you know what I mean? Like the Vikings, not the Vikings. The Cardinals guaranteed O'Brien the pick. You know what I'm saying? If O'Brien is trading away Hopkins looking to trade for another receiver, that's not guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? It's guaranteed that a receiver will be there with the 2nd round pick, but it's not guaranteed that the Minnesota Vikings are going to agree to a trade deal with the Houston Texans.
True.
And so I think that Brian has already thought this through. He already has a receiver in mind that he wants to take, and I think that the Texans are obviously going to take receivers.
Maybe he likes, a sleeper that he just knows is going to fall to the 2nd round.
Yeah, he probably
Denzel
loves
Mims, Jalen Reagor, maybe a T. Higgins if he falls there. I don't know.
Right, and so that's a whole other spiel. What Bill O'Brien, what goes through his head? We can talk about that for hours because no one really knows.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let's go on to another free agent. You know what? Probably to me the biggest free agent in this class. Not enough talks going around about him, but even though there's a lot of talk going on about him, Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For me, I truly think that Brady's going to return to New England. I don't think there's any other team in the NFL that gives Brady the opportunity of winning more than New England does. They still have the best coach in the NFL. They still have the best culture in the NFL. They still have committed to protecting the quarterback with the re-signing of Joe Thuney. You know what I'm saying? So, Best culture in the NFL, best coach in the NFL, the best O-line out of any team that he could possibly go to. The Buccaneers are talking about aggressively pursuing Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Behind what offensive line? I know Bruce Arians loves the veteran quarterback, but in Arizona with Carson Palmer had a decent O-line at that without the escapability.
Yeah.
And so Brady at 43 years old, I don't think he's going to want to go to a team with offensive line problems like Tampa, with culture problems like Tampa, with a defense like Tampa. New England's defense is still elite. New England's, it's just the best overall team in the entire scheme of Brady's decisions right now. So I think that, Tom Brady, the number one thing he wants to do is win. He doesn't care about the accolades. He doesn't care about the money right now. He cares about winning. And so I think the New England Patriots give Tom Brady the best chance to win more right now.
Yeah, and I think, like, as sports fans, in general, we're always looking for, a crazy story, some big change. But I think at the end of the day, Brady's going to return. I think, both him and the Patriots are mad at each other. They're, upset with each other, whatever. But he's going to stay. And look, bro, he's 42, going on 43 years old. I think,
exactly. Next season, 43.
Do you really want to go to Tampa, Vegas, LA, learn a whole new playbook, new personnel, all that? You have 6 rings. Like, you stay in New England for a year or two more, see what you can get out of there. I think they eventually make up and get a friendly contract for the Patriots. What do you think that contract?
You think he'll be friendly? I don't think Brady should be too friendly. I mean, he's been friendly all these years, helping the Patriots out with salary cap by taking pay cuts, allowing them to sign other players, and that points to his win.
Yeah, but it's not what have you done for me. It's kind of what are you gonna do for me now?
What are you gonna do
40?
For me now?
At 43 years old.
I mean, we could see a similar situation to the Kobe Bryant situation where Bryant was on the back end of his career. He clearly wasn't the same player, but the Lakers still gave him the max out of respect. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't think it's the smart thing to do. I think it's the ethical thing to do since Tom
you give him maybe
so many favors in the past.
2 years, 66?
Yeah, I think that I don't think that's horrible for the New England Patriots. I think that Brady would be willing to take a 2-year 60.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that at all. I think that's a friendly contract for the Patriots right there because he's still Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? And last year, people want to point to this year as a year of regression. Brady had the worst receiving core in the NFL. I do not want to hear it. You know what I mean? The average yards per separation for every single receiver on that team was ranked in the hundreds.
Yeah.
In the hundreds. It was the worst team in terms of separation. So if New England can draft a receiver, can acquire a receiver, I know AJ Green's going to be out of that talk. That was the Patriots' plan. He gets tagged because Joe Burrow wants him to get tagged by the Bengals and that whole fiasco. But if the Patriots can acquire a receiving threat that allows Tom Brady to have a legitimate number one receiver and not have to target Julian Edelman on the outside, and not have to target N'Keal Harry, who, you know what, I don't even want to get into that. I think he's one of the worst busts the Patriots have drafted in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And so,
well, we'll see, bro.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. He was injured, but from what I saw, the man looked like retired Des Bryant right now. That's exactly what he looked like. And I know he dealt with ankle injuries. I know he dealt with all that. But I'm tired of the Patriots rookies dealing with injuries. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Isaiah Wynn with the ACL tears, N'Keal Harry. The Patriots haven't drafted well in the early rounds in a long time, and I think Brady's taking note of that. There are not a lot of young assets for me to work with here.
Yeah, and
so I think.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, that'll definitely play a part into Tom Brady's decision process. I think that's why he's mad at them a little bit. You know, he's angry with what he was surrounded with last year on the offensive end. He's angry with everyone pointing to him as all that regression and stuff like that. But that only fuels the fire for Tom Brady. When he gets angry, when he gets mad, that's the best Brady you can see in terms of performance. So I think he'll come back fueled, fired, and I think the Patriots will be contenders once again.
Yeah, I agree. Patriots are always going to be contenders with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in that defense.
For sure.
But so let's shift gears to this. This is something that I've kind of had my eye on all day, and it's this Austin Hooper to the Browns situation.
Right.
Look, I thought this big name to the Browns stuff was over once John Dorsey got fired, but
it's never over.
Yeah, they still have this obsession with getting the big names, you know, and trying to pretend like they're really building something. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, even the Falcons, they're well off without Austin Hooper. They just traded for Hayden Hurst.
Right.
And
I love that. I love that.
$18 million a year. $18 million a year for Austin Hooper.
Yeah. $18 million a year for Austin Hooper when Deandre Hopkins is getting paid $12.5.
Yeah.
It's insane right now. And so, I mean, Austin Hooper is now the highest paid tight end in football. And you know what? I truly just don't understand it. For the Cleveland Browns, if you want to have two tight ends, a guy who can receive the ball and a guy who's a technical blocker, because that's what Austin Hooper is. He's a great receiving threat, and he's a technical blocker in zone schemes and in the run game. You know what I'm saying? He's he's a sound blocker. He's not an elite blocker, but he's sound. Mm-hmm. And so I think a guy like that who was a free agent this year is Cameron Brate will probably get signed for a vet minimum to be a number 2 tight end. You already have David Njoku, who you invested a high round pick in. And now you just made Austin Hooper the highest paid tight end in the NFL to be a 1A type tight end.
As the Browns, don't you want to lay low for a second after that terrible season? Like, do you really need Austin Hooper? I mean, Njoku was injured all last season. Relax.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think the Cleveland Browns right now are in a sense of they truly think they can win right now. I think this points to more towards the Browns. The Browns are pointing the finger at Freddie Kitchens. It was this guy. This guy had no idea what he was doing. We definitely had the talent. Now we're going to go get some more talent. We're going to get a real head coach. And then it's going to be a real team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think this more so points to the Browns saying that Freddie Kitchens was the problem here. Personnel was no problem at all. They'll go get a tackle at 10. We've got another tight end now. The receiving threats are through the roof. There is no excuse for the Cleveland Browns next season. There's zero.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't get,
I don't want to hear it.
Not only a winning record, if you don't get double-digit wins, something.
Yeah, if you don't get double-digit wins, it's a dumpster fire.
And I'm seeing reports that Case Keenum is in talks with the Browns to be their backup. That would be pretty nice for Baker. Have a veteran back there to really push him. Who, I mean, looks like. I mean, it wouldn't be far-fetched that. You know, he could beat out Baker. Obviously, I mean, they're not gonna start, but like, you know, just to push him.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean, and I love that signing for the Browns. I mean, last year they had Garrett Gilbert in there, an AAF guy, and so I like the fact that the Browns are going towards a veteran to calm down Baker, and also a guy who's on the. He's not comparable to Baker Mayfield. He's got the same build as him, the shorter quarterback. I mean, Case Keenum's the journeyman. Case Keenum's one of the most intellectual veterans in the league. I mean, he's been all around the league. He's a quarterback who's played in meaningful playoff games. So I think that playoff experience behind Baker will help mentor him into a more mature and more experienced quarterback. I really do like that fit for Case Keenum in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Another thing that we need to touch on really quickly. Okay, this whole Jameis Winston situation. Okay, the Bucs just tagged Shaq Barrett, meaning that Winston is a free agent.
Yep.
What are some teams that you think are in high contention for Jameis Winston's services?
I look at a team like, I want to say the Bears, but I don't know how willing they are to move off of Trubisky.
Bro, the Bears are in talks right now with Teddy Bridgewater trying to get a deal done.
Really? I saw something that said, I saw another quarterback, I forgot. But yeah, I mean, I think they might be done with Trubisky.
Just got an update right now. Just got a notification.
Fold,
it says there's a sense that Mitchell Trubisky will have to compete for the starting spot between the Bears are targeting Andy Dalton and Nick Foles to challenge Mitchell Trubisky.
That'd be pretty nice. Why not throw in Jameis Winston in there?
I feel like, to me, if I were the Bears, I would definitely be eyeing Jameis Winston to challenge Mitchell Trubisky, because I think those two can challenge each other. Because Jameis Winston definitely needs someone to challenge him.
Yeah,
that's one of my feelings on Winston. I mean, we all know about his turnovers. We all know about the 30 interceptions. We all know about the 30 touchdowns.
LASIK Jameis, bro. LASIK Jameis.
LASIK, yeah. I mean, he's getting eye surgery this year, so we'll see how much better that makes him as a quarterback. I don't think LASIK eye surgery is going to help him tell the colors different. Maybe he was colorblind, but, I mean, I truly still believe that Jameis Winston has untapped potential that some coach is going to have to get out of him. Dirk Cutter wasn't the right guy. We had, what's his face in there? How am I forgetting this guy's name? Their head coach right now from Arizona. What's his name? Bruce Arians. Yeah, Bruce Arians. He was frustrated as hell with the interceptions that Winston were throwing. He exclaimed that in multiple press conferences a bunch of times, how frustrated he was with Winston. And so I think that Tampa Bay, speaking of Tampa Bay, they're going to lose out on Winston. Who do you think's a quarterback that fits Tampa Bay? We know they're really trying hard for Brady right now.
Yeah.
But who's someone that can come in there if they don't get a Tom Brady and be a quarterback that Bruce Arians can get along with?
I mean, to be honest, they have very nice receiving weapons. So they're looking for a quarterback to just plug in there and perform right away. I'm looking at free agent quarterbacks right now. You see Tom Brady, Marcus Mariota. Who else?
Man,
that's really starter caliber. I mean, I guess Marcus Mariota, or you draft somebody, or Bridgewater.
Maybe Bridgewater in there would be nice for the Bucks, but
in my opinion, if I was the Bucks, I really would have kept Jameis one more year.
Oh, for sure, I would have definitely kept Jameis Winston. I would have kept him for one more year, see how this rides out, and then maybe you go into the draft next year if he really is that bad. You can go into the draft next year and. You know what? We talk about this all the time, man, how high we are on the next year's crop of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
With Fields and Lawrence highlighting it. You can go in there, do that, or you can go into the next free agency class and look for a quarterback there. I don't think the Bucks are going to get high return on getting Teddy Bridgewater to be their starting quarterback. I think if Bridgewater's a starting quarterback in Tampa Bay, it's a 6 to 7 win season. Easy.
Yeah.
And so I don't really think that does much for them. But we'll see where that goes. We'll see who Arians selects to be the next quarterback in there.
Yeah, so now, I'm seeing a lot of reports here that about this Gurley in trade talks. Where do you see Gurley landing with that huge contract?
Man, I don't know. Some man, you know where I would have predicted him to go? Cleveland, with the way they just love to sign stars. It doesn't even matter if they have 2 starting running backs. They'll go and sign. They'll go and trade for Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Whoever does it's an idiot, because I don't think Gurley offers any upside at all anymore, especially at what his contract is right now. I think his career is all but over at this point with the arthritis in his knees. He hasn't looked the same ever since we saw him get benched in the playoffs, and we just were wondering what the hell is going on with Todd Gurley. And now we can clearly see what the hell is wrong with Todd Gurley. And so every competent NFL team is going to know this guy's not ready to play. And running back is the easiest position to find in the NFL. So why the hell would I trade for one? Bill O'Brien, why the hell did you just trade for one? Another washed running back.
Yeah.
And so, for me, there's no way in hell I'd even touch him. But, there's going to be some dumbass team out there who goes and gets him and thinks they can win right now.
Yeah, so let's talk about another running back here, okay? Melvin Gordon.
Sure.
Melvin Gordon, to be honest, where I see him landing, given that they just, signed Eckler, so it definitely looks like he's gone. I see him landing on a team like the, Dolphins, Redskins.
Ooh.
One of these teams that just have a lot of cap space, want to get some star power, and he signs maybe a 2-year or 1-year deal to kind of reset his market value.
No, hell no. I don't even think Melvin Gordon's gonna go for that. Melvin Gordon's trying to get the big contract. You know what I mean? He fell through it. The whole point of Melvin Gordon's holdout last year was to get a long-term deal. Yeah. And he was trying to hold out, and then at the end, he sort of kind of gave up, and he was just like, all right, I'll come back.
Yeah.
He came back now, he finished the season, now he's a free agent. Melvin Gordon is this guy's looking for a 4-year deal with some team.
Yeah.
And I think, just like we talked about before, if it was Miami and Melvin Gordon was willing to sign a 2-year deal, I say, hell yeah, do it. Go get Melvin Gordon for 2 years. That's a great signing for the Dolphins. You're not going to win anything in 2 years anyway. Yeah. So get Melvin Gordon in there, and maybe you can show some signs, show some flashes, give some confidence to whatever young quarterback's going to be back there. But signing Melvin Gordon for 4 years, man, signing any running back for 4 years to me is just a dumb move. I don't care.
Honestly, even the Zeke deal.
The Zeke deal.
To this day, bad.
Yeah, I could care less how good you are. If you're playing running back in the NFL, I'm not signing you to a deal past 2 years. Yeah. Simple as that. And I feel like anyone who does is it's a mistake at this point. It's 2020. It's not 1985. Stop signing running backs to quarterback type deals. It makes no sense. And so what I wanted to get into really, really bad, Rami, was this whole Cam Newton situation.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the trade block. The Bears were thought about at first amongst a lot of people, but now that we're seeing a lot of things play out in free agency, what's a team that you think could trade for Cam Newton? You know what? Actually, before I let you answer that, you know what comes to my mind right now?
What?
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, man, Tampa Bay. You know, we just talked about Bruce Arians and his love for veteran quarterbacks. Why not go get a former MVP? Why not go get Cam Newton? You know what I mean? For one, I don't like Cam Newton, but I do feel like Bruce Arians would love the fit of him in Tampa.
How about a team like Indianapolis?
Ooh.
Something like that. But to be honest, I don't think the Panthers will trade Cam. I don't think they should. Not right now. I think you play him one more year. Well, I don't know, actually, because long term, I don't know if you want Cam. And we've seen reports that they want Trevor Lawrence next year, so I think you try to get a deal done. I don't know how much return they'll get on that trade.
Yeah, I mean, you try to get a deal done. For me, Cam Newton's worth maybe a 6th or 5th round pick.
Really?
At this point, a 6th or a 5th rounder. I mean, 4th to me is a bit high, but I can understand a team doing it if they really do like Cam Newton. I just feel like his shoulder. Man, this guy has had two major shoulder surgeries on his throwing arm. And so Cam Newton's mechanics, since his MVP season, his mechanics even in his MVP season were a little inconsistent, but ever since that MVP season, his mechanics have been all out of whack.
Man,
I know
you saw him in the beginning
RG3.
of the season, it was terrible.
Yeah. It's like this guy just, in the first game of the season, you're watching it, and he's missing receivers by like 5-10 yards. He's literally just throwing it over their heads. And I feel like Cam Newton, we saw Andrew Luck recover from a similar shoulder injury, but, Cam Newton right now, his arm just looks shot. He doesn't look to have the arm strength or the accuracy that he used to have. It kind of reminds me of RG3 after his knee injury when he lost a lot of his confidence and wouldn't throw off his... he wouldn't throw on platform. He'd throw off his back foot a lot, or he'd throw leaning to the side or something like that. But his mechanics were just off, and that's it with Cam Newton. It's not just his shoulder mechanics. You can see in his legs, he's throwing flat-footed. The guy's just throwing off of his... He's throwing off his whole foot. He's just launching the ball up. His mechanics look shot, and his mechanics weren't even that good to start with. So
yeah,
for me, Cam Newton's he's well past his prime, and I don't think he deserves to be a starting quarterback in this league anymore.
I agree. And then here, let's go defense here. Jadeveon Clowney. Where do you see that going?
Ooh, Jadeveon Clowney. Now, for me, we talked about this the other day. It always feels like Clowney only ever shows up on the huge stage, or the playoff game, or the Monday Night Football game, or the Sunday night game. He never really shows up week to week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
so he's always dealing with injuries every year. I feel like this guy's always got something going on. But for me, I don't see a clear team getting him. I think Seattle has an opportunity to retain him. I think they could do that.
I see that. I also see Philadelphia, who's they've both wanted each other for the past year. Philadelphia, right. Miami, who has I think the most cap space. Hey, dude, Colts.
I like that. I like that Miami selection a lot. Remember in our mock we had them taking Chase on?
Yeah.
If you get Clowney in there, that gives you more opportunity to invest on the offensive line. I really do like that decision a lot.
Yeah, and they just got Eric Flowers.
Yeah, and the Eric Flowers signing. A lot of people are pointing to the signing. You're giving Eric Flowers $10 million a year. This guy's a bust. This guy sucks. The guy was a bust at tackle. We saw him for the Redskins play guard, and he looked like he had competence at that spot.
Yeah.
And so I think if you throw Eric Flowers into the guard spot, you let him play next to a stud rookie tackle, and it's just going to boost his confidence. He'll become a mentor to the guy. and he'll let him know all the mistakes that he made as a top 15 pick. And I mean, I think it just works wonders for the Dolphins. I think they can get a lot out of Ereck Flowers right now in his career.
Yeah. And then
wow, wait. Breaking news, everyone. DeForest Buckner has just been traded to the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah. For
me. And whoa. The Colts send their 2020 first-round pick to the Niners for DeForest Buckner.
Wow. That's the 13th
Forgot to
pick.
include that. That's the 13th pick. The Niners now have the 13th pick. Amazing move from the 49ers for me. I mean, they have so much talent there in the front seven. They get to move on from an interior D lineman.
Dude, they can get a Javon Kinlaw or something.
Exactly, and you keep Eric Armstead. And so, I mean, this is insane value for the San Francisco 49ers here. Amazing move by an organization that we see turned around with the quickness.
Yeah.
And that's what you call great culture. That's what you call great managing of a football team and great coaching overall.
That's nice right there, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have done it better. That sounds like something I'd do in Madden. I've got a bunch of stud D linemen. Let's trade one for a first-round pick. Why not? Yeah. After we just played the Super Bowl, great move from the Niners there. And all
right, now as we wrap up these free agents and trade candidates, let's kind of go turbo here. Drew Brees staying, right?
Drew Brees definitely going to stay. I think there's no other team.
Just hasn't agreed to a deal yet. Byron Jones, where do you see him?
He was in talks with the I wanted him on Texans. You know, I really wanted Byron Jones. I like the fit of Byron Jones with
it's still possible.
The Houston Texans. It's still possible. And so for me, that's the best fit for Byron Jones. You stay in Texas. You stay within another contending team. I mean, we'll see what they do with the offense now, but you stay with a team that's still relevant, and you get to play on the back end of a defense and be a leader on that team for real.
Yeah. Chris Harris.
Chris Harris. I can definitely see him working out a deal in, Jacksonville. Jacksonville always gives me weird vibes, and I feel like they just traded away to two corners. They operate under their own will. They don't really listen to what anyone else says around the league. They just do whatever the hell they want.
And they just dumped a lot of salary within the past few months.
Yeah,
so.
They just dumped a bunch of salary, so I could see them in the game for Chris Harris.
And then let's see, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt. What do you? I mean, before this whole David Johnson thing, you were talking to me about Kareem Hunt possibly being a Texan. You wanted him to go on.
Dude, I've been wanting that for months. Like, this guy still has it. In my opinion, I think he's better than Nick Chubb.
Wow.
No, seriously, like you saw what he did in Kansas City
right
a couple years ago. Like, this guy is a beast, bro. And what's crazy is that he's not going to be expensive at all. You can get him on a really friendly deal. Given
you get him on a minimum. Given his past, man, he has no leverage at all to talk with any team.
Yeah, that's what's crazy, and I think that's why the Browns are going to keep him eventually.
Oh, yeah. I felt like that would be a nice pickup for the Browns as well. They didn't have him the whole season, so they weren't able to implement him into the offense the way they wanted to. They weren't actually able to implement anyone in the offense the way they wanted to. It was all just a bunch of different parts in the same area. They weren't working together as a collective unit. And so I feel like the Browns, they've got 1 year under their belt. They know that they struggled last year, that they know they have to be a cohesive unit in order to gain some wins. You get back Kareem Hunt, you got Nick Chubb, and that's the best running back duo in the NFL. Once you figure out the system, once you figure out the snap counts, once you figure out who's doing what on what, I think the Cleveland Browns could be a candidate to have one of the best offenses in the NFL if they can put it all together. You know what I'm saying? We were saying this last year,
exactly.
But we just saw the debacle that it was last year. I think Kareem Hunt's a nice signing for the Cleveland Browns if they bring him back.
Yeah. Let's see, Darius Slay. Does he get traded? I think he will. Where will he go?
Sure. Darius Slay in a trade scenario. Man, this is super interesting for me because I think a team that could be in the talks with Darius Slay could be the Denver Broncos. I really like the Broncos. They can go get Slay At 15, you can take a receiver, help your young quarterback. You don't have to take a corner early on. I mean, I know this cornerback class is deep, but the Denver Broncos secondary, besides Justin Simmons, is absolutely horrid. You know what I mean? Chris Harris he's not coming back, and so I feel like you trade for a guy like a Darius Slay. He's going to be an immediate impact, immediate leader, immediate mentor for a bunch of guys in that locker room. And it increases the win now value of the Denver Broncos. And we know they're a team that hates to be in that rebuild stage.
Yeah.
I think they can pull themselves out of it with a trade like this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of teams need corner, but yeah, with Chris Harris, that's probably going to walk. Getting Darius Slay would be nice. And
I think Slay would love the opportunity to be there. I mean, Chubb was out all year. You got Von Miller. You got Chubb still. You got a nice pass rushing duo. Yeah. You can be a corner on a team with an elite pass rush.
Yeah,
with an
dude,
offense
I love the
surging.
Broncos for the future.
Oh yeah, me too. I love what they're doing in Denver. They've always been a team that knows what they're doing in terms of analytics and in terms of being ahead of the game at times.
Dude, they had the shortest rebuild stage like ever.
Yeah. They'll go out there but I didn't like the Flacco signing at all. It wasn't anything. It wasn't anything for me. But we know how Elway is. He can't evaluate quarterbacks. But we see they got a young stud in Drew Lock, even in the second round. So the Broncos have done a really nice job with this rebuilding period. Even though how short it was, they've done a really nice job here. And getting Darius Slay would just propel them right back into that contention stage in the AFC.
Right. So look, Brandon Cooks has been in trade talks. But look, in 2020 season, he's going to make $8 million. 2021, he's going to make $12 million. 2022, he's going to make $13 million. And 2023, he's going to make $14 million. Who is going to take that up? When his contract ends, by the way, he's going to be 29 years old. So, right now he's 26.
Yeah, I mean, that Brandon Cooks deal, it's... For the first 2 years, I don't mind that at all. I don't. No, actually, I think it's a friendly deal. By the time Brandon Cooks is 29 years old, wide receivers are going to be getting paid well into the 20s. You know what I'm saying? And so for him to be a $14 million guy, and that's the peak of his contract, I think it's actually going to be friendly to the team in the future. A team that I could think about going out there and getting a Brandon Cooks could be the Philadelphia Eagles, who definitely need a deep threat. I do love that fit of Cooks out there in Philadelphia. I mean, we saw what Deshaun Jackson did that first week before he got injured. Carson Wentz finally had himself a deep threat, and Deshaun Jackson just tore the Redskins' ass up. So, I mean, it was the Redskins' secondary is nothing to be proud of, but still, we saw the chemistry that Wentz had when he actually had a downfield threat, when he's actually allowed to use his arm. And so I feel like Brandon Cooks would be a great fit for the Eagles, and it'd give them a chance to, they're in a win-now stage, so why not go get a Brandon Cooks?
Yeah, you're right. I have nothing to add to that. I was going to say Eagles. Totally agree there. And so let's wrap this up here with free agent Devontae Freeman.
Wow.
I see him landing on, another minimum deal, who I think he's still talented.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Falcons were just soft up front last year. Yeah. It felt like the offensive line for the Atlanta Falcons last year, it wasn't even a personnel problem. It just felt like they just weren't playing hard enough. It was kind of weird. It was strange. It was like on both sides of the ball in the trenches, the Falcons were just fundamentally weak. When you were watching them, they just got bullied in the trenches. And so it wasn't a matter of fact of Freeman on the decline. It was just he just had nowhere to go at times.
Yeah. And this is why I say Bill O'Brien is a little slow in the head. Look, would you rather have Devontae Freeman or David Johnson?
Dude, I want Devontae Freeman on the minimum deal after he just got cut. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, David Johnson was a candidate to be cut by the Arizona Cardinals. There were rumors around Arizona that Johnson could be cut this year to free up some cap space for Arizona. But now the Cardinals flip him like a card. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. I still can't believe that happened. It's one of the worst trades that I've ever seen. And we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. You never know. I mean, maybe Bill O'Brien has some master plan to transform the Texans into Super Bowl contenders overnight with this trade, but it just doesn't look like it right now, Rami.
Yeah. Now, we covered Diggs, but we never mentioned where do you think he will land?
Man, where do I think Diggs will land?
I know you want to say Patriots. I know you do.
Yeah, no, of course. You know I want to say Patriots. Right after the Bengals go out there and franchise tag AJ Green, like, I'm sitting there, my feelings are hurt. I'm in my feelings a little bit. I mean, I shed a few tears. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the Patriots are going to take a receiver at 23. I don't think there's a receiver available at the time, according to our mock, available at the time that's worth that selection and that will pan out. And I actually do not trust the Patriots when selecting skill positions. So in the first round. So, I mean, I would look for the Patriots to maybe trade for Stephon Diggs. I would love that selection for them. Brady would love it. Brady would definitely re-sign. So, look out for the New England Patriots.
So you get Diggs, Sanu, Edelman.
Stephon Diggs.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. And, I mean, yeah, I'm glad you didn't say N'Keal Harry's name. He doesn't really count.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, that pretty much wraps it up for us in terms of these free agency and all these trades. I mean, it's a huge day.
As of March 16th, 2020.
As of March 16th.
3:23 p.m. Central Time so far. So,
right.
We should be back pretty soon with more to talk about. With there's going to be more trades, more signings. But that's going to about wrap it up here for the Dirty Laundry podcast. It's been good. Appreciate you guys for listening. And, yeah.
Hey, and definitely everyone out there, y'all all have to tune in next week. Y'all all going to be under self-quarantine, so I don't know why the hell not. This corona shit is knocking everyone out.
Yeah.
So you guys
and
definitely got to tune in here.
By the way, we just recorded this from 2 different states. Like, bro, ever since we started this podcast, bro. I'm different with the tech stuff, bro, I swear.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hey, shout out my editor, Rami Cater. This man the GOAT. No
We're
cap.
out here, man. All right, man.
We out here, man.
Appreciate y'all for listening. It's going to be it. Peace.
Y'all stay up. Stay safe. Stay away from corona. On God.